What's up guys, my name is Nobuhle Kumalo and I just wanted to do this video just to highlight the importance of not accepting financial advice online. So the other day on Twitter, I tweeted something like, guys, just remember to take everything that people say with a pinch of salt, like on Twitter, on Google, even on YouTube, like even if you've heard stuff from me, just remember to take everything with a pinch of salt. Because I mean, like a lot of us who do these type of videos will tell you, please note, this does not constitute financial advice. But I don't think people actually understand why we say that line. I think people just think, oh no, we're trying to evade the legal consequences of like giving financial advice. But it's actually for your benefit as well. So like I'll just give you an example. If you've seen on Twitter, people always tell you like, oh guys, stop renting. When you rent, you're paying off someone else's bond. Just buy a house. Or they'll tell you, getting a balloon payment on your car is such a big disaster. Basically, just don't get the car. What else do people say? Like people say a lot of stuff. And I guess there is some truth in it, but also you need to be aware that it depends on where you are financially. So I'll just reflect on something that's happened to me personally. So because I'm trying to be a lot more financially savvy, I am trying to become like a really strong, independent black woman who has money, hopefully makes $1 million by the age of 30, blah, 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 all of that nonsense. So I'm really trying to save, and like I save a lot of money. Well, I try to save a lot of money and I try to invest. But I found that I am actually falling short because I am not making enough money to be saving as much as I'm saving. So don't get me wrong. I know people always say, no, saving is a habit. Even if you only earn 300 Rand, you should save because, when you get $1 million, you'll also be able to save. Granted, fair, it is a habit, but guys, you should not save at your own detriment. Like you shouldn't save so much that you are now struggling to buy food. You are now struggling to like pour fuel because you've saved so much money. So on my side, so what happened this year is that a couple of my aunts and I and some of my cousins decided to play Istokvel. So for those who don't know what Istokvel is, you guys put in money every single month. Then at the end of the period, for us it's at the end of the year, we cash out that Stokvel. Actually no, it's actually at the end of Jan, because usually Jan people are broke, so we're cashing out January the 2nd. Cool. So every single month you contribute to the stokvel, you contribute that amount. Someone keeps it in their bank account, or you open a separate bank account. So stokvels really do differ in South Africa. Some stokvels are like every single month the money goes to one person, or it differs. For us, we all contribute to the pot and then we take out the money at the end in January. Cool. So now what I did when I was contributing to the stokvel is that, everyone was contributing a certain rand amount, and I said, fine. But now remember, I'm competing with my aunts who have been working for so many years. I'm competing with people who've received like a lot of money from like other things. And I'm just an entry level worker. So now basically it's like me trying to play Istokvel with my own mom. My mom has been working for 30 plus years. I've been working for 19 months. So you can understand the level of our salary, like our salary gaps. But it was a small amount of money. It was only 1,000 Rand, So housing 1,000, come on. But anyway, so I'm contributing to the stokvel every month. It's fine. But now that I'm looking retrospectively, those 1,000 Rands that I've been contributing, I actually needed. Like every single month, I'm always short just by a little. Like I'm short maybe 300 Rand, or I'm short 500 Rand. And it doesn't seem like a lot. So the thing is, with young professional accounts, you do have that overdraft, so you can go into overdraft. So like now suddenly my account is going into overdraft by like 200, 250, 500, It's not a lot, especially because you pay it back when you get like when you earn your salary. So like it's not like your overdraft is like recurring. And also I'm someone who hates debt. I always tell you guys, I hate debt. So whenever I see that my account is suddenly in the negatives, it's like, ew, I hate that. Like even when I started my student account, I remember sometimes FNB would take money like for bank charges. I used to have such crazy bank charges as a student. I think I was paying like 350, 400, and I'm paying way less now on my young professional account. So yeah, I don't know what the hell is happening there by FNB. Anyways, so when they take your bank charges, like suddenly my account would be like on a negative 12 Rand, negative 50 Rand, and I'd be so angry, like, hey, who do I owe? So that's how I felt with overdraft as well. Like I really do hate being in overdraft. But I mean, looking back, I'm like, the only reason I'm in overdraft is because I'm trying to save in this stupid stock file. And I mean, it's not stupid. I'm just angry now because it's like I could have done better. And thing is, guys, a lot of people are also in this situation. Like people will try put money into fixed deposits. They'll try and invest and buy shares. And like, guys, as much as saving and investing is a good thing, there's no amount of saving that you can do that can like balance off your debt. So like, let me tell you, like if you have overdraft on your bank account, like actually my bank, let me talk about my bank. My bank, if you're in overdraft, they charge you 7% interest on that overdraft. But if you have saved with them, if you have a positive balance, they pay you 0.1%. So to borrow money is 7%, but when they borrow money from you, basically because you're saving, they only pay you 0.1%. So there is no amount of money that you can save and invest that will counter the 7% that you are paying because you're in overdraft. So in 2020, that was my downfall, and I really wish I didn't do it, but it's fine. You live and you learn. Next year, I'm not playing that stock file, or if I do want to play, I'll probably like drop my amount. Actually, no, I probably will keep my amount the same, because I mean, our salaries do increase like every 6 months, 12 months, so maybe I will keep playing, but I mean, I still need to think, I'll think about it, and if I'm ready for it, I'll do it, or maybe I'll just do it on the side by myself. I know it defeats the purpose of Stokfella, because Stokfella is all about community and being accountable to one another. But I mean, yeah, I'm not trying to have to force myself to pay that 1,000 rand just because my aunt's also contributing. But anyways, the gist of my story is that do not compete and do not compare and do not think that you're in the same financial bracket as other people. Obviously, I'm not saying I thought I was in the same financial bracket as my aunts, but I'm just letting you know. Another thing, like what I've actually experienced at work, and like even with my friends and colleagues and all of that, is that as much as even if you are earning the same amount, we don't have the same responsibilities. So a lot of people are quite privileged. So either they've been bought cars by their parents, or they have flats that belong to their family, or they're living back at home. So people usually are paying for an apartment or a car. And then, there are those few people like me who have to pay for both an apartment and a car. So when you're in that situation, guys, like money is tight. And when I tell you tight, like I mean like there's no money. Because I mean, even with your car, it's not like you're just paying for the car. You also pay insurance, you also pay fuel, you pay for the car tracker. There's just a lot that you pay for. You pay for the broker for your insurance. Like there are so many unnecessary costs that come with buying a car. Even with an apartment, you pay your rent, then you still have to pay for water and electricity. You have to pay for the refuse that they take out. Like there's a lot. Like there are a lot of little small costs that you sometimes don't factor into your budget, which is why it's so important to have like at least 1,000, 2,000, just chilling in your account just in case you have those additional expenses. Because when I was budgeting, I remember I budgeted, because I mean when I was buying the car, I had to have a budget. When I was moving into this apartment, like they ask you, what are you earning, what are your expenses, basically give us a draft budget. So obviously my figures were very, very, like they were very they were not consolidated, they were quite constricted, I think that's the word, I don't know. But anyways, like I was saying, maybe I'll give you an example. Like if your apartment costs you 8,000 rand, so it's 4,000 with a flatmate, I was budgeting 4,000, forgetting that there's the 500 rand for the waste, forgetting that there's the 500 rand for the electricity, so it ends up being a lot more than what you see on paper. So just don't compete with people. Another thing is like I'm seeing people go out a lot, and I'm like, hey, well, God, what have I done? Why can't I go out as much? I mean, obviously, thing is, even when I go out, like I want to drink. So if I'm gonna drink, I need to Uber to the place, and Joburg Uber is crazy. Like you can spend 400 rand just going to one place. So that's basically 800 rand a round trip. And I'm sorry, I do not have 800 rand just to get to a place and get home. That's before the alcohol, that's before the food, that's before the random shots that you do with your friends. So, watching people's stories on Instagram, I'm like, yo, hey, but people have money. What am I doing with my money? How am I I mismanaging my money? And then I realized that actually no, we don't have the same expenses. Like as fun and you need to remember that when you are watching these YouTube videos, when you are reading these articles on like things you should do with your finances in your 20s and all of that, remember we all have different responsibilities. And I mean, I'm not saying that I'm complaining, like I'm not complaining about my situation, I'm fine. I mean, obviously I do wish it was a lot better. I do wish my parents had bought me a car. I do wish I had an apartment that my family bought for me. Who doesn't wish for that, you know? But I know there are people who are in the same situation as me, who've probably had to like live in a less fancy apartment, who have to send money back home. Like I don't send money back home. My parents actually give me pocket money because they're like, sis, you're broke. So you know, there are a lot of other dynamics that other people are going through. So just be kind and just be conscious when you're talking, even when you're at like work. You're with your employees, not your employees, you're with your colleagues and you're ordering Uber Eats, or like you're working late overtime, and like, okay, overtime companies aren't technically meant to buy you food, but like let's say you're with your colleagues and now your colleague is bringing in a lunchbox. I told you guys I'm a lunchbox fanatic, but like don't like be very careful of the comments you make, like oh you've got so much time to be making lunch. Some people don't have time. Some people actually have to make lunch because they can't afford to come and buy lunch every single day. And also like even with overtime and all of that, like just be conscious, like if you become a manager or something, just be conscious of the fact that not everyone has a car. Like it's so hard for you to expect people to be at the office at 8 a.m. every single day when you just get up and you turn on your car and you get to the office. Easy. Literally my only worry is that someone's gonna annoy me on the road, the robots are not gonna be green when I get to them. Like that's my only worry. Other people have to take taxis to take a taxi to work. Like it's like 3 taxis, because you take one to town, then you take one to a certain place, and then from there it joins you to where you have to actually get to. So you know, just remember that other people have to wake up at 4 just to make it to work at 8. So if someone is like 30 minutes late, don't now have your panties in a knot because 8 a.m. is 8 a.m. You do not know what was happening. If there's a taxi strike, everyone is going to be late because everyone is screwed, you know. Also remember, people have kids, you know. I think people have kids, and like in the workplace, you can't assume that just because we're all 21, 22, 23, we all should be living this certain life. People have children, people have siblings that they're looking after. So sometimes people can't come into work because the nanny didn't come, so no one's gonna look after the kid. So a person had to make a plan in the morning, you know, so that's why they're late. I don't even know why I'm ranting. This is about financial advice, but I'm just saying that we all lead such different lives that need different models for us to be financially healthy and financially independent. So whatever you do, always try to reapply it into your life. So if I say, oh guys, I budget about 2.53K for groceries, you know how much you eat. If you don't eat breakfast, then you know minus 500 rand, because you're not buying milk, you're not buying cereal, minus 500 rand. And if you're someone who's on a special diet and you have to have almond milk because you're lactose intolerant, you know you have to top it up, you know. And if you are buying food for you and someone, you know it's going to be more than that. So just always apply what we say, but apply it to your life. Like, don't just take it as it is. And just like, be very conscious of who you're actually listening to. Like, I think as a general overarching thing, don't just listen to people, because guys, I promise you, anyone can get a camera. I'm not even using a camera, it's a phone. Anyone can get a phone, a tripod, sit down, put on some makeup and talk to you about what you should be doing with your money. And you know, if you are someone who's gullible, if you are someone who doesn't question things, you are going to just take that, and you are going to be in such a bad space later on when you realize that actually this person was talking nonsense. So whatever you hear online, whatever you hear like in videos, try to do some other research. So if you read an article, try find a video. If you watched a video, try find an article. See if what people are saying actually matches. See if there are other people corroborating their stories. Because I'm telling you, if everyone is saying this thing costs 100 rand, and I come and I tell you, oh no, listen, you can get this for 30 rand, please do not come and take my word for it, because I'm just saying 30 rand and I could be completely wrong. Go and do your research and see how. It's 90 Rand. And Miss K, where did you get your 30 Rand from? Question me. I would love questions, because it's like, yes, people are checking me. Yes, people are actually engaging with my content. I think this is really important in terms of shares. I had a video about shares. If you haven't watched it, you should probably go check it out, on how you can buy shares on Easy Equities. So a lot of people come into my Instagram DMs asking me where they should buy shares. If you don't follow me on Instagram, go follow me. Hibo. So yeah, so they'll ask me, what shares are you buying? What shares should I buy? How do you know which shares are good? Which shares are going to give me dividends every 6 months? And it's like, I could literally just say any company off the top of my head and people would take that. And that's very dangerous, because you shouldn't be putting so much trust in someone. Even if you like them, even if they have a nice personality, even if they have a nice YouTube channel, you shouldn't just take things from people. Question everything. Have a very questioning mind. If someone tells you something, investigate. Because also, guys, remember, I can't actually tell you which companies are performing well. I'm not allowed to, because of my profession. It can be seen as insider trading, because I actually have inside information of certain companies. Obviously, I'm in private. I've told you guys multiple times, I'm in a private auditing thing, so I only audit private companies, so you can't even buy shares from those companies. But someone else who doesn't know that I'm in private will just know that, oh, I work for this firm, and this firm is auditing these companies. So if I'm saying, oh, company ABC is a good buy, people will believe me, because they think, oh my word, she has inside knowledge, because she might be auditing ABC and she might see the financials that haven't been released. I have inside information before the public is aware of it. And that's actually illegal. I could go to jail if I ever did that. So please don't ask me which company to buy from. Like I always say, just think about the products that you use every day. Think about things that you know are sustainable and buy there, because when you go to Pick n Pay now and you buy yourself a bottle of Coke, it's like, oh, I know it's bad for my health, but I've got shares in Coca-Cola, so I'm paying myself. As much as it'll only probably be 20 cents. But you know what I'm saying. Okay, guys, I think I'm going to wrap it up here. Yeah, this video is not meant to be long. I just wanted to talk. I just wanted to let you know why this is not financial advice. Is an important term when people say it in their videos. And just be smart about your money. You work really hard for your money, so I would hate for anyone to just tell you some nonsense and you run with it and then you lose out on a lot of money. Money is it's a touchy thing. Anyone who comes between you and your money is actually an enemy. So don't take things lightly. And if you really want something that is tailored for you, and you have a lot of money and you don't know where to put it, I think you should speak to a financial advisor. I'll probably put some links down below of where you can approach a financial advisor. I don't even know how much financial advisors charge. So I'll try to do my research for you guys, just so that you guys can know whether they are accessible to you. Because those people will look at your life. They will literally ask you, okay, how much do you earn? You say your amount. How much are you paying for your car? You say your amount. They ask you, are you sending your parents money every month? Yes, no. Are you getting any other income? Do you have a YouTube channel? Are you getting money from it? They'll ask you everything, and then they'll tailor something specifically for you, and that way you can actually stick to it. Because if I tell you, okay guys, let's invest 5,000 Rand each, there's no way. I don't know what you're paying for, you don't know what I'm paying for, so there's no way we can just say a random amount and we can all afford it. Okay, I love you all, and I hope you're all keeping safe. But yeah,